Maybe you would prove me love. We will travel different roads from now. We fight forever. Forever means nothing if we don't give it up. We can cry when it's over. 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 Our love, it was special, but baby, you can't really stop it, can't stop your heart from wanting what it was. Our love, it was special, but baby, you can't really stop it, can't stop your heart from wanting what it was. We can cry when it's over. 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 We can cry when it's over.
All right, Welcome, welcome. What's up, everybody? All right, just settling in for a second. It's been a schminute. All right, hopefully everyone's doing well. I think the first time we've run a stream publicly in like, I don't know, 3 weeks or something like that, maybe 2 weeks. Been dealing with some bullshit, you know? Just didn't really feel like it. All right, so we'll get started here in a second. If you could do me a favor, press that like button. Would appreciate it. I've got the puppy with me. I tried to tire him out before we started the stream. We were playing fetch outside for a bit. So hopefully he just goes to sleep. If he wakes up and makes noise, it is what it is. We'll just deal with it, you know? But yeah, it's been a minute since we've done one of these streams. So yeah, I do have a little bit to catch up on. We're obviously gonna just talk about, you know, Counter-Strike skins the entire time. That's the focal point of the stream. Yeah, so I'm feeling with a, you know, with a chill vibe. I've been dealing with a bunch of bullshit, so we're gonna keep it real chill today. But I do want to do some updated thoughts around Bitcoin. You know, maybe we'll do a little bit of alt scan here or there. Q&A per normal. So any questions you guys have, just throw them in the chat and we'll cover it. But yeah, it seems you don't stream for a couple weeks and then you lose all your viewers. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Actually, let me run through chat really quickly. All the you know, excuse me, I don't know what's going on. Time of the year, it's really rough for allergies right now. So if I've got some throat clears or whatever, it's my bad. What up to all the regular viewers, though? I do appreciate seeing your guys' you know, ridiculous names in here every week. What up? What up? Chart Fwog. All right, we'll do a little bit of a Bitcoin dive right now. So I'm gonna ignore chat for a minute and just kind of lock into some stuff here. So where are we at from a high time frame point of view? From a high time frame point of view, I think that we're still set to see trend continuation this year. That is, like, you know, the main thing I'm operating around. I think that it's going to still play out somewhat similarly to what we saw in 2024 and in 2023, where we're probably set to put people to sleep. The big question on everyone's minds right now is, are we about to break the mold and trade up in May, or are we going to bonk everybody in May per the schematic, per the kind of expectation? So we'll talk about that through a couple of different lenses. We'll work our way down from high time frame to lower time frame shit, and kind of share my thoughts and what I'm thinking about. So yeah, I mean, just to kind of rehash the big picture high time frame bullshit to make sure everyone's on board. There has been no major changes, but just running off the same plan. I think that if I was to weight probabilities of, do we do summertime chop? You know, these are the two ideas, right? Do we either like kind of hold this region? You know, this is obviously a super important support right now around 90K. We're either going to hold 90K and we're going to trade up and we're going to break the mold, or we're going to chop people down before we trade up. These are the two main plans. I definitely think that chopping people up, that's the worst arrow ever drawn in history. This is far more likely in my opinion. So that's what I'm kind of going off of. I think that this is going to end up, you know, whatever you want to be, a deviation trader or whatever. I think that that's probably what this is likely to be, because, you know, I thought we would do this move. I just didn't think we would trade up as high as we did. And the simple answer why we traded up so high is just, you know, people getting squeezed out of shorts in combination with the relentless boomer spot bid. And my gut tells me that the boomer spot bid is going to die off and that, you know, it'll pick back up after we sell again. So that's basically where I'm at. I'll check chat here in a minute and make sure there's no questions for it. But medium, you know, we'll jump into medium time frame and stuff here where I'll have more details. But high time frame has no dramatic changes. I did de-risk, you know, some of my shit. So I had decent, you know, I bought spot and had a pretty good derivative long from the low. Now, I didn't like play a lot of the altcoin stuff, so I wasn't, you know, super leveraged, you know, from the altcoin point of view. But I played Bitcoin pretty well here, and I have pretty much de-risked that, right? I have maybe 15% of my original long on. And the intention is, you know, if we do pull back, you know, I think that we'll probably be setting up for a higher low. Maybe we'll trade a little bit lower than people will think, but hopefully set up for a higher low, and then that's where you're going to want to, you know, reload the spot. So I said this many times. I didn't, again, to be clear, I did not think we would trade up as high as we did, so I'm really appreciative that, you know, we got that extra opportunity, that extra juice. I think that you're kind of setting up for the higher low. If I'm wrong, then, you know, what does it look like if I'm wrong? If I'm wrong and we don't set a higher low, it makes us, you know, we're setting a lower low, and then structure starts to really look pretty fucking bad, and it almost looks like we won't play out the summertime fractal. So you really want to see that defense start to come in here. If we don't see defense here, then you end up starting to have actual, you know, a bearish high time frame structure shift where you're starting to trend down, right? So we want this to be higher low. To be clear, though, just because it maybe doesn't make a higher low or whatever, right? You know, there's lots of instances, you know, people have said the same shit over here, right? So, gotta play it by ear with all that shit. So, let's pause here for a moment and check chat. I don't really want to talk about the, like, fake dev dying and all that. Like, I don't want to get into anything like that, my friends. Where's the decorrelation gang at? Screenshot you bozos? Nice. Send me those screenshots, man. I need those. Now, I mean, objectively, Bitcoin's correlation did change, and it became much more skewed towards gold recently instead of being more correlated to the S&P and the Nas. So I think the decorrelation bros are just, you know, looking at it wrong. I'm sure it'll 100% just recorrelate again. Sorry to hear that you lost money on your scalp, brother. There will be another trade, or you'll just go get a job. Losing the range low would not concern you if flip 90 back to resistance. I think that's what's like. Hold on, brother. I will talk about that in detail. I think my music cut out. Someone was asking about the background music. It's the Halo ODST piano, looped for like 17 billion hours. I will talk about the 90K stuff here soon. Yes, so if we lose 90K and re-accept back into this range right here that you're looking at, then that tells you that that basically locks us in for summertime chop. So this void right here has to hold the support, but we'll talk about that more when I get to medium time frame. Don't you sweat it. Almost looks like complacency. If we start rolling over, we'll see, guys. You know, don't get hung up too much. I know I was talking about market structure there, but don't get hung up on that stuff too much. Because, you know, there's been plenty of instances with Bitcoin where you have, you know, structural shifts, you know, but they don't really matter, right? You know, just because somebody gets a bunch of people get blown the fuck out and you make a lower low doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna, you know, trend down because of that, right? I mean, that's a perfect example, right? This was a lot heavy selling, a lot of people getting blown out. Technically, this is pretty bearish structuring, right? Lower. Right, lower high, lower low, right, and then just to repeat that, and almost this is the point where it picked up momentum to the downside, right, and it just invalidated itself with more chop. So we don't want to get hung up too much on the little details here and there because TA is a fucking meme a lot of the time. How did you stay in that long? I was in from the low, but happy to get 85. I mean, how did I stay in the long how did I stay in the long for as long as I did? Confidence. I mean, you know, confidence in the setup playing out. Another piece of it was feeling underexposed. I did not want to sell my Bitcoin. I mean, guys, Bitcoin could just trade up further, and I sold my Bitcoin long. It was a futures contract, but relative to spot, I was selling, you know, around where it's at right now, around 95K, right? And we could see the opposite where Bitcoin trades up higher later this week or next week, and it was wrong to sell it, right? So I think the main reason why I was able to sit in the long for as long as I did was probably because I was feeling underexposed the whole time because I didn't buy any altcoin stuff. I only bought, I only had Bitcoin exposure for this run up, which I think was the smart decision in some ways from a risk-adjusted standpoint. Does BitMEX Premium have any signal? No, bro. I don't think the BitMEX matters anymore. Oh, Bitfinex. Theoretically, yeah, it might. I don't want to get into a bunch of theoretics. I think Bitfinex probably matters less nowadays than they used to. Where and why did you go back to risk off? Here. I mean, just over the past few days, I made the shift. I closed out. I mean, basically all I did was just closed out the long. I closed out the majority of long. That's the primary thing. And I have an ETH short open right now. Only 21 likes and 130 of you in here. Press that like button for me. Letting the position ride becomes easier if you trail. Did you? No, I don't. You mean trailing stops? I mean, guys, I don't really even use stops that much to begin with, right? I seldom rely on stop losses, right? Probably 90% of my trades, even if it has a stop loss on the book, I stop myself out manually, so no. I don't really believe in trailing, but it's very much to each their own. It's not to say that that can't work. It's just I don't like trailing. I would rather rely on my discretion for profit taking and risk more of a round trip, guys. That maybe is contradictory to what other people teach or whatever, but I believe in the ability to squeeze the juice out of the trade a lot of times. You know, like OM's a good example, right? I didn't get in OM super early, but I just knew, like, I called it in the group, right? I did it officially, and I did it in the local trade channels as well, live, where, you know, it just like rocketed up fucking, 30% in the blink of an eye on like a fucking Saturday or whatever it was. It was like, no shit, that's gonna be the fucking swing high point, on OM. Take song requests. All right, everybody. Let me lock back in. I'm gonna ignore chat for a minute. And yeah, I mean, if there are any macro Bitcoin questions, hit me with them. Otherwise, I don't want to, sit here and say the same shit. The levels are all marked out on the screen too, so you know what the fuck I'm doing, what I'm thinking. There's been no dramatic changes. I'm gonna start to move on. I can always go backwards if need be, right? Just for the meme of it. I drew this fractal a long time ago. I know that it's super popular nowadays, but it is pretty wild how similar. If you take this and just put it right here, basically we're setting up for the bonk into the higher low. If we do this again, right, where we like bonk, start to rally in Q3, kind of fuck people over at the very beginning of Q3, and then just go up, like, that would be crazy. When the fuck is the beginning of Q3? Yeah, right there. So, that'd be sick. Anyways, I don't really care about this chart too much. Quick glance at the VWAPs. Don't really care about these too much either. Obviously, macro VWAPs are what you're looking for confluence for higher time frame pullback levels. If we do break down from here and pull back, these are the kind of areas I will do a lot. I will do this range that we've been trading in right here. I will do a full breakdown of this range here eventually. We're just not there yet. I want to do medium time frame first. Let me check chat real quick. I had no idea that the OM would ever do that gigadump shit, guys. Right? We knew that that's a scam coin when the whole market is going up and some random coin you've never heard of is just going up. It's a scam coin, so you need to trade it accordingly. Easy to be a loser in that fast of a trade, 100%, but I know that's probably another, one of the many, many reasons why I say don't trade on the weekends unless you have to. I mean, that type of shit is not as likely to happen on a fucking Monday. PC gets delivered. Excited to load charts faster. What a nerd. Everybody /nerd him right now. Nerd. No, that's cool. Doc's not much of a PC guy, so happy to see him Finally switching over and experiencing what a real machine is like. My edge is higher FPS, yeah. Yeah, I just, I have 240 hertz. Yeah, I use my gaming 240 hertz FPS monitor to scalp on. It's all about the hertz and the refresh rate and the FPS, boys. I'm just faster. All right, buddy. Saying I'm doing cocaine is the most ridiculous thing. I'm pretty fucking chill. Nice try. All right, let's do a little bit of medium time frame yap. Do I have a doodle here worth checking out? Yeah, so the main thing was, you know, I originally thought we would build out this range and reject and then, you know, start to do the leg up. Instead, we did this, so we ranged up and we're building out this next range. Originally, I drew this when we were right here, and the idea was that, you know, this looks like it's coiling to leg up, right? Well, we just failed. And that was the primary reason why I started really de-risking stuff, was because you had a range. You started building value above that range, and now you came right back into it. So I don't really like the way this looks right now. And that was one of my primary reasons to start to play defense. I'm not saying that you should be directionally shorting this stuff, even though I am right now. It's probably not actually that wise. But yeah, I mean, technically, this hasn't failed just yet. We could be right here before we leg up again. So, you know, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? At this point, I'm not super risk on anymore, you know, so I almost hope we reject, but who cares, honestly? Fuck it. If you have any medium time frame questions, let me know. But, you know, when we operate off the same plans for, like, you know, months at a time, there's nothing new to say. I mean, I guess the main things to say, we'll move over to this cleaner chart, right? It's a battle of, is this void going to hold, right? Are we going to see this range get defended and see this void hold? If this void holds, it tells you we're going to trade up, right? As long as we hold above this, we're more likely to trade up. As soon as we start to reaccept into this void, it basically means that you're going to reaccept this range. And if you reaccept this range, it means that you're at least trading down to, you know, the lower 80s. That's kind of what the medium time frame framework is right now. You have your clearly defined range. I'll show you the range in more detail when we get to the TPO section. You know, if this void starts to fail, which there is a few single prints in here that are closer to 90k. You can look at those as well. If this void starts to get filled in, then basically if the void starts to get filled in, you just almost assume that it's going to reaccept the range, and that since range reacceptance tells you, right, what's basic auction market theory? If you have a distribution and you go way outside the distribution, well, what the fuck's not likely to happen if you fail? You're going to go back inside the distribution and then test really far on the other side, right? Basically, the further you test in one direction and fail, the more likely you are to test pretty far in the other direction. So that really fucks with my higher low plan, but that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. Let me check chat. Let's see. So what they mean by high frequency trading, yeah, 100%. I'm just playing FPS. We're gonna hold off on the Counter-Strike and FPS talk for as long as humanly possible. ETH to yearly VWAP? I don't know what ETH looks like right now on the yearly. Where's the yearly at? Please no. Let's not. Who said that? Yeah, let's not make ETH go up, because I'm definitely short on that bitch right now. Donny Boy cooking up a tweet to pump Bitcoin. You guys want to see me get liquidated, huh? 156 of you in here and 39 likes. Press that like button for me. Definitely risk off. Wait until FOMC. Yeah, FOMC might, you know, lower time frame. We're going to move in that direction for this conversation anyways. The FOMC is probably setting up for a buy the dip opportunity. So we'll talk about lower time frame stuff here pretty shortly. Just catch up with chat first. This range is 100 times more boring than last summer's so far, in my opinion. Last summer's had a lot of, like, you know, fear and shit coming in, right? It was like, you know, war fear, you know, the fucking countries are dumping on us, right? We had, like, all these, like, crazy headlines. And nowadays, all the headlines are basically the same thing. But Doc, if I'm being 100 with you, one of the probably the primary reasons why that feels like that for you is you just got another year of trading under your belt. You know, things like the boring times just feel that much more boring when you've traded for a really long time. No idea seasons. I'm not going to get involved in anything like that. We don't care. Thank you for your liquidation. I'll get stopped out so far before the yearly VWAP. So you know what? If you want to run it and stop me, I'll go for it. You're not short ETH. You're short ETH. I'm balls deep ETH right now. No troll. I know for a fact, a complete certainty that you're not long ETH. So nice try. So nice to have you back. Thanks, man. What is this TPO type tool? Crazy. People don't know. So this is one of the things that I got kind of popular on Twitter for, I think, way back in the day. It's just a tool I use for lower time frame stuff primarily. So all this is instead of looking at a whole bunch of candlesticks, it is taking an entire day and it is printing it basically in a bell curve distribution. So, you know, it's on a vertical axis. I'm going to make one on a horizontal axis for educational purposes. So what each of these blocks is telling me is that there was 30 minutes spent there. Right, each horizontal or each vertical line that you're seeing up and down is 30 minutes. So that adds up to the whole day. So what this is showing us, if we were to flip this on its side, is it's showing, if you see a distribution like this, it's showing you this is where the majority of the time for the day was spent. There was a lot of time spent over here, right? If this is price, so think like this is 1, 2, 3, this is price of an asset. The majority of the day was spent at $2. A lot of the time spent for that day was at $3, right? You can see a lot of time spent was like, you know, $1, you know, 1.2 or whatever, right? So it's basically just a distribution of time to see where price is spending the most time at. If you use this in conjunction with volume profile, you get pretty good ideas of what fair value is and can help you. You know, it doesn't really give me directional bias that much per se. Mostly helps me with, you know, levels, you know, understanding if I should be trading for momentum or reversion, some of these kind of things. This shit's second nature to me, but I've been doing education on these things for so long that, you know, it's almost like I don't even know what the fucking, what do I even say the quick elevator pitch of TPO is nowadays? I don't even know. Where'd you get the name Magus from? That's an interesting question. Magus, yeah, brace yourself for some nerd. Magus is the origin word for mage. And I always played mages and wizards and shit in the games I played, so there you go. If you look up Magus, that's where the word mage came from. Magus was like almost like druid-esque type of people way back in the day. Motherfuckers thought they were apothecaries and shit. And they were probably just LARPing super hard. Just fucking like fooling kings with a, you know, a vial of some cool colored fucking purple drank. Can't wait for another 3 or 4 years. You either just go full, most people just go full dead to it. I just don't care that much about when, you know, when things are fun, I enjoy myself. When things aren't fun with trading, I just like, you know, there's a million other things to do. Like fill out bank forms. Hype and Civi look low-key not bad. Yeah, we can look at those later. Don't worry. Do I need premium trading view for TPOs? I don't know. If you go and look at the packages, it will tell you. I would suspect that you cannot get away with like the starting package for it. There's no clue where to find it. Oh, brothers. It's built into TradingView now. You can have it as a candle type and price opportunity, or you can even just, it also is a indicator. Next TPO alpha lux after 150 likes. Holy shit, that's the type of moderation I need in my life. We know that when there's a 50% overlap in value, we can create composites. But when price is ranging, how should we create the composite in that situation? I think you mean, brother, when price isn't ranging, how should we create a composite in that scenario? You don't, right? There are no composites, right? You know, the idea is price is either, you know, expanding up or down, or it's building out value sideways, right? These are the two states the market exists in. So only when it's in the sideways state do you really mark out comps. And try not to get too much, try not to be a nerd about the 50% rule and all those kind of things. I think all that stuff's dumb. I advocate against hard set rules for composites, because we trade, even though Bitcoin is relatively liquid nowadays, we still trade in liquid markets, especially with altcoins. So is this weekend price action or this end of the week into weekend price action going to invalidate or not be a part of this composite just because it doesn't overlap? I mean, I'm going to draw it as a part of the composite either way. I don't care. It's more about a mindset rather than the technicals of where the high and the low and the comp are. People need to realize, yeah, so many people are probably placing emphasis on where the comp is actually drawn, and that's not actually, like, it's the idea. But that will probably not be absorbed by many. Got clapped on an oil long. I've never traded oil in my life. I've traded commodities, mostly metals. Never traded oil in my life, though. Where is Nikki? Nikki normally watches the stream back afterwards. Nikki is a normal person and actually lives a life and goes outside. She's probably surfing right now. From Japan, how long have you been trading? Well, welcome, brother or sister, whichever you are. I've been trading for over 10 years now. I don't really use Footprint that much anymore. I used to a lot. I really would only advocate for Footprint trading for, you know, lower time frame, you know, scalping. Really aggressive lower time frame trading. No, Lucifer, I assure you we will get more nerdy as the stream goes on. Getting better at trading, as simple as reflecting on mistake, or is getting better at trading as simple as reflecting on mistakes, deciding to do something differently and sticking to it. I mean, no. I mean, I can't condense it down and say it's just that simple. Obviously, you are onto something when we say that, like, the ability to recognize the mistake, reflect on it, and then, you know, evaluate how to do better differently. That is obviously a huge component of this stuff, right? And that's one of the reasons why it's so hard, right? This whole self-reflection part and really facing your mistakes is so fucking painful. It sucks ass, right? But you just got to muscle through that, basically. But to say that that's, you know, if you can just do that you're going to figure it out, it's, you know, I can't say it's that simple. It's even more nuanced than that. Open Japanese guy, Maga-san. I fucking knew that you were gonna. I knew it. Gold, oil, NQ on my core, trio for my MY session. Yeah, I don't actively trade stuff like that anymore, brother. I used to actively trade on, like, you know, silver and gold and some individual equities here and there. But nowadays, all the boomer market stuff, I'm just fucking net long and chill. I just fucking buy stuff and chill. It's not Legend of Zelda, but I appreciate that because that's also a fucking banging background track. This is actually from Halo. Bro, is BTC need derivative to move up? What's your thoughts on it? You re-asked that question, brother? What do you mean? Does BTC need a derivative? Oh, Jesus Christ, I can't read. I read derivative. That's crazy. Does Bitcoin need a narrative to move up? Bitcoin's narrative to move up is Bitcoin. What you should be asking is, does crypto need a need a narrative? I'm reading chat as I'm fucking talking. Crypto needs a narrative, and the only good narratives we have nowadays are Bitcoin and stablecoins, and maybe AI. Bitcoin's gonna go up whether it has a narrative or not long term. Super confident in that. But Bitcoin has a good narrative nowadays. The narrative is that it's a fucking legitimate asset, that, you know, it's time for the fucking old people to buy it. That's the narrative. I don't want to do any AI education just yet. Maybe eventually I'll share some of the stuff I've been fucking around with. Yeah, I've been having fun fucking around with AI tools here and there, but I don't know what I'm doing yet. Time for CS background music. All right, if you guys stick around to the end of the stream, we'll do some CS chat for fun, because CS has been crazy recently. I actually can't believe how much my skins went up. Maybe we'll play some CSGO orchestra background music, because that song is honestly great. Oh, you're good, Tomato. What up, Nikki? How do you formulate a proper high time frame, medium time frame thesis on Bitcoin and equities? Well, I mean, to be honest, man, just watch the stream, you know, more. Just watch the stream more often, because you can watch me do it live. All these plans that I ever have, I talk about them way before in advance for the most part. So you guys can watch, if you guys just show up every week and listen to the stream. You know, maybe don't watch the whole thing, just watch the first part where I talk about Bitcoin, you know, if you want to save some time. And then watch that plan progress over time, and that's honestly one of the best ways I can answer that question. I've traded for a really long time to where I have made systems for high time frame, medium time, and lower time frame, and they're basically all the same exact thing, because they all use the same tools and they just have different parameters, right? So higher time frame is obviously not going to use a fucking daily VWAP, right? It's going to use higher time frame VWAPs, right? And it's going to have looser risk parameters, etc. But they're all the same fucking thing. So yeah, just watch the streams, man. Also, you can, you know, go to my playlists on this channel as well. I made a playlist with all my best educational videos if you're trying to get frisky. What do you think of Sailor? I kind of knew this conversation would come up, guys. I think that whenever, in any market, whenever there's a bunch of people that are coming out and talking about how something's going to go so horribly soon, you know, it just always keeps going up. So, you know, it's like the same thing with Counter-Strike skins, where every Counter-Strike skin thread I see is about how it's all scams and manipulation, and then, like, we just keep, every day we just go up more. I think that, look, I'm going to preface before I say anything that I'm not somebody who's really qualified to speak on these kind of things, because it just doesn't fall into my area of expertise. So I prefaced it with the I'm retarded, right? Now that we've said that, I think that long term, that those things are going to represent a significant risk for us eventually. Because for Sailor, for example, I don't know enough about any of the copycats, right? But if Sailor keeps walking his average entry up, eventually he's going to be underwater on it. And then I just I don't know how that's going to play out, right? How is he going to be able to acquire more debt and stuff, right? When, like, all of a sudden his, like, balance sheet is now going the opposite way. So I do think that a lot of that stuff will represent a significant risk for us, but it probably won't materialize until after people have kind of almost forgotten about it or something, right? Like, you know, that's my gut take. No, you have paperwork to sort. Yeah, it's hilarious. It's so funny. Maximum pain. I noticed a lot of people mistake emotional decisions for not just fully developing their system yet to not knowing what to do. Do you notice the same? I noticed a lot of people mistake emotional decisions. Yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm struggling to, like, kind of digest exactly what you're asking. Yeah, most people are making their decisions off of, like, nothing. You know, it's like, they have the answer beforehand, and then they just try to find things that will just, like, you know, give them confluence that answer is going to arrive. So yeah, a lot of people are going to be making emotional decisions and stuff, and a lot of people that will say things like, you know, I worked on my system or my automated system this or any of that kind of stuff. A lot of the times it's not as concrete as they're making it sound. I've never played that game, Essa. Care of K-Seed? I have not. I don't understand how I bought $20 of inventory back in 2015 and now I have skins worth $27. Well, I mean, the bid on Counter-Strike skins is not universal. It's specific to, like, the higher end shit. Learned everything I know about high time frame bias and positioning from you and Doc. Thanks, brother. Thank you, thank you. How do you get aggregated volume for the month? Is it visible range profile? No. So what you want to do is you want to use it. It's a PVP, periodic volume profile. You just go to TradingView and type in PVP, and it'll let you set the time frame you want it to show. Just from the streams, just from the streams alone. Love to hear it, brother. Can you discuss what you're seeing on the price action Bitcoin with TPO? Right now, because this failed to reaccept, or this failed to break out here, it tells me I actually deleted all my trade plans that I shared with the Paracom before I started the stream on purpose. So I have 4 trade plans that are running right now, and I'm actually in one of them right now with a short, and then I'm hoping to have a couple more materialize. But yeah, I don't want to just spoon feed the trade setups, but I do think that buying the dip is, you know, we're either looking for a breakdown dip or a buy the, you know, or a breakdown short or buy the dip, right? You're either trying to, you know, have this area hold and you buy the dip, or you're maybe breakdown shorting, right? Because you built this, you know, whatever this was, like 8-9 days, and then failed to break out and then came back into the value. This is pretty short-term bearish, right? This makes me think that at the very least, you're going to see this area down here getting tested most likely. And depending on how this reacts here will be very, very important, right? If we get a good response from bulls and we get right back up into the value, then we'll probably see fresh highs. But any sluggishness down here, and we start to, you know, maybe rotate around down in these lows, I mean, that just means we're going to reaccept into the macro range if so. I don't want to share my actual trade setups that I'm running, but that's a good generalized covering of it. No way that's real, Lucifer. I need you. I need stats. How do you tell if the order books are thinner than normal? So you look at the order books, right? This is probably going to crash. This is the one thing I don't really like about this application thus far, is it's slow as fuck. Especially when I'm streaming, probably not going to be great. So you load up an order book and you fucking look at the order book, right? If you look at an order book every day, you know what a Bitcoin book should look like, right? It's that simple. Every exchange and every order book is going to have different, you know, standard numbers. So you always expect perpetuals to have a lot higher numbers, right? So if you're going to compare a Bitcoin perp against a Bitcoin spot, you know, the Bitcoin perp should have 5 to 10x more liquidity, something like that, right? Maybe that's an overstatement, but I would say 5x is pretty solid. So, I mean, it just takes experience looking at order books, just separating the difference between spot and perps, and just knowing what a Bitcoin book looks like. And, you know, I couldn't answer the question with alts per se. I could definitely tell you when the Bitcoin order books are liquid or when they're not, though, because I look at it every day. I don't know what an altcoin standard order book necessarily looks like. Maybe Solana I could make educated guess on, but random alts, I couldn't tell you there should be X amount of liquidity around the spread or whatever. I don't know. Trillionaire now. What a legend. I would like to get to your opinion on how likely it is to achieve all-time high in Q4. I think it's very likely. All my core plans are around the idea that we're probably going to make fresh highs later in the year. And the most likely time frame for that is going to be Q4. It always is, right? So we'll see it, if it plays out. We'll see Q3 start to be bullish and then Q4 rocket ship. I don't have like a whole lot to say on it other than it's just the pattern that we've repeated for many years, and that's what the trend looks like to me, right? If I eyeball the trend in high time frame, it looks like we chop people up for a few more months and then go up again. And I consider it reasonably high probability. Like, it's definitely higher than 50% in my mind right now. I've identified a basket of outperformers besides Altcoin for diversification purposes. Sui hype, virtuals. I only want spot position in one. We can look at some of those. Most of those are decent coins already on my list. So I probably wouldn't pick Sui because it's not that Sui won't go up or something like that. Sui's just like a VC scam coin. You know, personally, it's not, if I'm going to pick one spot coin to buy, it's not the kind of scammy kind of coin. So honestly, if I have to pick out of those, I'd almost certainly pick hype. I mean, there you go. The chart not only looks better, but I think that if I was to park spot like longer term in an alt, I would much prefer this. What was your other one? Virtuals? I don't even know what virtuals. I haven't looked at that in a long time. Let's see. How the fuck do you spell virtuals? With a U or an I? Yeah. The choice is clear. I would definitely pick hype. Just per your question. Aptos looking good. We can look at Aptos really quickly. Yeah. What? I assume I just got trolled, and that was like we're memeing with the whole Aptos is looking good and are you sidelined meme, because the sideline meme was spicy. I fucked with that big time, but yeah, you're definitely sidelined on this one, guys, because this one definitely not going to zero. Aptos looks like piss. There's no way to get historical view of order book depth. I mean, some applications will have history, but no, I mean, I don't think that you could pull that data from the exchange themselves. You would have to record the data or find somebody else that recorded it. Sell and main, go away, or this time is different? Boys, it's looking like sell and main, go away. %. I actually skipped over that. 95% of the supply is crazy. DYDX looking spicy. I can kind of already tell where this one's going. There's just no way this chart's not down, right? This shit got delisted from Binance. Hold on. There's probably a better... Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's looking real good, boys. There's no way Popcat's the strongest meme. It doesn't look that bad. Alright, so I wasn't even ready to go into alts. I'm going to talk about some alts here. Okay. Yes, Popcat doesn't look that bad, but this thing also got brutalized harder than like any of the other coins. So I'm gonna run through some of the ones. Solana is one of your fucking benchmark coins. This is your safety, Sam. I'm a pussy, but I want to buy something coin. You know, I think the days of Solana over performance are maybe gone. I'm very appreciative for the Solana god days of 2023 and 2024, but I think those are gone. But if you're a pussy, this is the coin you buy. If you're not a pussy, There's a few other coins on this list that we'll run through. Obviously, Altcoin looks pretty decent. What are the main ones I would show you on would be probably Altcoin. Bonk might look okay. I do think per my time frame plan. Well, wasn't really planning on this, but since my time frame plan is, where's the doodle at? I don't even fucking know. Whatever. Since my high time frame plan is we get bonked. Maybe it's here. Who the fuck knows? Since my high time frame plan is bonked, that we get bonked, it does make sense that you want to be positioning yourself to buy whatever coins do look decentish on the bottoming time frame. So I think trading usually being a laggy piece of shit right now. Here's kind of my thoughts, right? What I want to buy whenever the time comes to buy shit is I'm not buying low liquidity on-chain coins, guys. I'm going to buy large cap coins. To each their own. Some of you guys maybe need to buy on-chain shitters. I will probably buy back some of my Solana as I'm a pussy bet. Then I will look to the same things that have worked well for me in the past. I'm going to look at memes. I'm going to look at AI and maybe RWA. So from memes, my picks off the top of my head are going to be things like Altcoin, things like Doge, things like Bonk, and probably Pepe. Although I haven't looked at Pepe in a minute. I don't know if Pepe bottomed out as well as Bonk did. Doesn't look... Maybe I would skip on Pepe. Because it doesn't look as bottomed out to me as some of the other ones did. I haven't looked at Doge in a while either. I would honestly just blindly buy Doge regardless of what the chart looked like if I wanted to buy memes. Not even joking. Let's look at Doge. Yeah, Doge kind of looks pissy as well. It's actually crazy that like some of these newer meme coins like Bonk kind of looks better than Doge almost. That's criminal. But yeah, that's probably, so to finish that thought before I come back over to chat, probably buy up some memes. The ones that I listed, so Fart, Doge, and probably Bonk. If I was to buy any sort of RWA play, it'd probably be Pendle. And then for AI, I don't really know what the AI play is, but I'm going to be honest, like, it does make sense that the AI kind of revival is upon us at some point. So, anyways, let me know what other, I'm down. There's maybe a couple other coins that look good, but this list that I put together was one. Hype is another one that I do own some Hype. It's a very, very small bag. So I might buy up some more Hype as well. I could see this being, a good piece of that. So hopefully that all makes sense. To be clear, I don't own big exposure in any of those things that I listed out yet. My intention is to buy the dip because I think that Bitcoin's going to pull back. If Bitcoin does a legitimate pullback, then that means, one of these type things. If it does something like this, I will be looking to buy up spot for later in the year. All right. No problem, pine cones. Yeah, you got to hit Alt-I and inverse the charts. Too early to fade momentum on Monero? Why would you want to fade it? I wouldn't have any interest in shorting something that can just go up like this over the weekend because some hackers stole a bunch of Bitcoin and instantly, put it into Monero. I wouldn't want to short this, man. I'm so torn with something like this because I have said recently a lot that this was a good looking coin. But, it's hard for me to want to buy something that I'm pretty sure is going to be illegal. This thing's probably going to get banned eventually. CRV. Didn't Curve get fucking hacked the other day? Gee, look at this fucking tick sizing. Brings me back to the good old days of the Bitcoin pairs for the OGs in the chat. Then this thing is ass. This fucking tick rate's disgusting, or tick size. It doesn't look terrible. I'm not super interested in DeFi though. You know, I bet on Curve way back in the day. I don't think Curve was one of the first things I bought. I think the first thing I bought way back then was like Compound and Aave, but I did have Curve, and I bet big on DeFi way back in the day. I'm not super interested in DeFi at all recently. Sidelined. Ondo looks decent. Yeah, Ondo doesn't look bad. I kind of like Pendle more than Ondo if I'm gonna pick an RWA play. That's why I said Pendle. I would probably pick this one. Haven't been in Pepe in a while. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really taken Pepe seriously in a while, ever since, you know, sold it. Hype as a long-term thought? Yeah, so I think hype, you know, again, all this altcoin conversation is contingent upon what I think Bitcoin's going to do. I have to, you know, kind of do that little preface before I say anything. But yeah, I think that if we are in an environment where alts can do well, then this is obviously going to be one of the winners. I think that hype could really be setting us up to have a kind of paradigm shift where we move away from financial nihilism and in the direction of legitimate products that actually make money. Where's the dip for hype? You're either looking at like a super shallow one, which literally just happened. Yeah, so you're either looking for the shallow dip, which just happened, or you're looking for the deeper dip, which is not that deep. It's probably like, you know, 50. You're looking for like a 50-cent dip on this bitch. So honestly, if you want to buy this thing, just fucking buy it, you know? I'm not interested in buying anything right now because I really think that Bitcoin's going to get bonked here soon. What up, Darth Cholo? I don't really want to look at the AI XBT coin, but you know what? I fucking will. Yeah, I mean, this thing's fucking cooked, probably. It's just the Twitter? Okay, that makes sense. It's kind of unbelievable that there's like 4 separate bear markets in alts while Bitcoin goes straight up for years. Yeah, just the way she goes, right? We just made too many coins. Sold people on the dream of alt season too many times. Any advice on how your strategies change in a downtrending market if you're looking for longs on bounces? Yeah, I mean, so I'm a trend follower, right? The primary reason why I want to buy dips on things is because it's, you know, Bitcoin trend is still up. You know, no, definitely I can't really make any bearish arguments on Bitcoin high time frame. So, you know, the last example of, you know, that kind of environment that we can talk about would be 2022. So we can scroll over there. You know, from obviously I fucking sell all my shit off, ideally. So I, you know, throughout this whole downtrend, I didn't own anything. And, you know, it's been so long that I can't remember where any of my swing longs were. I'm pretty sure that this range, I sent a swing long here or here, one of these two. I don't remember. But my primary focus throughout this entire period was shorting, right? Which is crazy because nowadays you ask me to short stuff, I really don't short stuff on high time frame anymore. But you know, that's the only way to make money back then in this environment. So yeah, I mean, you were just trying to catch all these swing moves, and you know, I tell this story to give perspective for people, not to clout claim, but you know, I traded this thing basically perfectly. This is where I hedged, and then I sold all my shit in this period. So, you know, I was net short until this drive. That's when I changed some things around. But I don't remember every swing short I caught, but I know, like, basically all the big moves, like, I caught the big moves. And the reason why I'm telling you this is you would think, like, I sold the top and I caught the majority of the downside momentum. You had to have done really well that year. But between the FTX hack, or the FTX whatever, whenever the fuck that was, like this one, I don't remember when FTX was. Between FTX, I got hacked at the beginning of the year on chain, and taxes. I actually had a down year in 2022, even though I traded it extremely well, just because of, you know, getting money stolen from me twice and from the taxes from the year before. The taxes the year before were not planned very well on my part, and ended up being a fucking shit show. All right, my friends. How long have we been streaming? We've been streaming for like an hour. I'll hang out for a little bit longer. If there's anything you guys want to talk about, hit me. Otherwise, I will probably start to look at Counter-Strike skins. Check on the other monitor. How's the pupper? He's great. Thanks for asking, brother. He's you know, he's asleep on his back right now on the tile in the hallway, with his legs just spread open, just balls out in the air. He just doesn't give a fuck. It's so funny, like, just dick right out in the air. He doesn't give a fuck. But yeah, I've been really blessed with the dog, because he's been pretty well behaved, you know, not having to deal with a whole lot of bullshit. He's been very trainable and stuff too, so I've been very lucky. All right, I'm gonna move over into this screen while you guys do whatever you're doing. Feel free to hit me with any questions or anything. I am gonna be ending the stream here pretty soon. Time to look at some Counter-Strike skins. So this is one of the most retarded charts out of all the things I own. But I bought this thing for like $550, and it was sideways for like a year after I bought it, and then just in the blink of an eye, it like over doubled recently. This is my favorite M4 of all time. What else do we want to look at? Could look at my stiletto. See if I can spell it properly. These things were fucking insane recently. Stilettos are normally not that expensive, but just because this thing's a phase 2, it did this for me. I bought this thing for like $800, or maybe it was $750. And he just fucking skyrocketed. Alright, I'm checking chat still. No problem, guys. You guys don't need to say thanks for the questions or anything like that. I don't mind. That's what we're here for. Time to play some Counter-Strike. You play with options? Not really, brother. Eventually, I will do more option stuff in the future, but no. Not just yet. Looking to get Yu-Gi-Oh cards as a hedge to protect capital, 100%. Yeah, Pokemon cards are lame. We're just going to go all in on Yu-Gi-Oh cards and just going to stack Dark Magicians. Is there an actual method to trading these skins, or just gut feeling? There is logic, right? So some of the, like, I don't trade these things to make money. I trade them because it's a childhood dream kind of thing for me to be able to buy expensive skins. When I was younger, you know, it was unrealistic to buy a $100 knife, and now that $100 knife is $2,000, but you get my point. So I'm just buying them because it's just a childhood dream mostly. The logic of how you would make money off these things, though, is you want to focus on liquid plays, because there is varying liquidity, right? So you want to focus on things that actually have trade activity and get traded a lot. So this is a good example. Like, this is a liquid skin. Next, you want to focus on like just straight up aesthetics, right? So brightness, matters, right? Your purples, your pinks, your blues, your greens, all these like kind of brighter colors, they're automatically going to attract more things. And I see this in my portfolio. All my bright shit is the stuff that's getting bid. Anything that I have that's more muted is not getting bid up. So this bright pink knife teleported. I can find some other examples, but that's basically what it is. I just chose to buy things that I thought were cool. But if you want to actually make strategic plans around this, you want to focus on things that get traded a lot. And you want pictures? Hold on. Yeah, I got you. That's honestly not a bad shout from you. I should have considered that beforehand. Not everybody knows what this shit looks like. Oh, that's... The price quotes that you'll see on these aren't valid, just so you know, but it's just this. I don't know how to make it full screen. It's just a little flip knife that's pink. And this thing... Yeah, this is one of my others. This is the Karambit. But yeah, that's not maybe not the best one to show. This one will look... This one will make more sense to you as to why it's expensive, if it'll ever load. It's weird. Website's like doesn't want to load. There we go. Check this out too, guys. For whatever reason, StatTrack is getting outpaced by non-StatTrack. This isn't a good picture to do it justice, but it's a Karambit, and mine is literally solid blue. It has like no color other than blue on it. When you first open a position on perps, for example, how do you monitor? Do you sit on lower time frame? I mean, brother, you know, it does depend on what I'm doing, right? So if I'm doing, you know, like intraday trading, for example, I'm going to monitor the fuck out of it, right? If I'm building up a swing trade, I'm not going to monitor it as much. So it does really matter what style of trading I'm doing. So for lower time frame stuff, like I don't really keep lower time frame trades open when I'm not at the computer. So to give you that kind of perspective, I sit there and monitor the absolute fuck out of it when it matters. Be real with you, that knife looks ass. Well, the beauty of it is I have so many of them that it's all good, because if one of them looks like ass, I guarantee I have at least one knife that you'll think is cool. Do the best CS players use these expensive skins? You'd be actually really surprised like how much people care about this stuff. So yeah, the answer is that just because somebody has nice skins doesn't mean they're good. Because there are rich people out there that are just ass. But most of the time when somebody's good at the game, they're going to have skins. On the really high-end level tomato, people, you don't even have to own skins. Like if I'm a pro, people will just let me use their skins. So when you watch pro play and you see like, holy fuck, that pro literally has a $300,000 inventory right now. Most of those skins aren't his. He's just borrowing them from skin collectors. It is purely cosmetic. It has zero stat performance or anything. All it is just about having, it's just like, you want a bunch of dudes to give you compliments when you play games. That's basically the purpose of this shit. CS2 has the most insane economy. It really does, because they made, this shit's all old, right? Nowadays, this kind of NFT type thing doesn't seem that wild, but this has existed way, like literally 10 plus years before NFTs did. This stuff's from 2013. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the stream here pretty soon, because I don't think you guys really want to sit here and listen to me talk about my skins, but it's been fucking wild. I basically have always told any of my friends that were in crypto, like, look, if you have extra money sitting around that you're not using, I do think that buying skins is actually a good thing to park your extra money in. So, pretty cool to see that materializing, whether it's a fraudulent market pump or not. But, you want to know what's funny? So I told all my close friends, especially the ones that actually play CS. I told Charlie to, every time I play CS with Charlie, I call him poor the entire time because he has skins. He just doesn't have crazy ones. And no, he did not buy them. But it's just simply because Charlie is an actual adult and I am a child when it comes to these things. You can lend them out too. It's not built into the game. It's like third party. I think that, yeah, there are lending services where you can like lend out your shit for accrue interest. I would not do that personally because there's huge risks associated with it. But yeah, there's lending services and stuff. And anybody that's actually a really high-end pro can just go into the skin community and be like, yo, nerd, just let me borrow your skins. And all of them will be like begging that person to take their skin and let them use it. Because then you get to, you know, when you're a fucking shit at the game and you have cool knives or whatever, you can now get to go see your knife or your AK or whatever at the pro play level. You can talk about foreskin. Trying to get me banned on YouTube 100%. They are not liquid, but you absolutely can trade them for profit. You just need to trade on high time frame, right? You know, that ugly pink knife I showed you guys, it looks way better in game, by the way. I mean, everything looks better in game that I have, but I bought that thing for 800 November, or maybe it was September. It's either September or October of 2024, so it's not been that long. I bought that thing for 750 and now it's 2,500. So you can, and I could sell it right now for 20, you know, for the whatever the quote is, and somebody would buy it immediately. So they're not liquid, but you can sell them for profit 100%. To be clear, guys, none of this shit is to be taken seriously. I'm simply having fun, joking around about some, you know, shit that a lot of us grew up playing this game. So it's cool to see that it's still around, it's still thriving. I still play this game a lot, maybe more than I should. Maybe we'll do a Counter-Strike stream here soon. Maybe even later today, depending on how some of my bureaucratic bullshit I have to deal with this afternoon goes through. Anyways, that's going to be it for me, guys. So hopefully, you know, going back to some of the original shit we were talking about that actually matters with the Bitcoin plays. You guys know what the fuck, you know what's going on. You know all the plans, etc., etc. So yeah, do your thing, yada yada, words. All right, have a good one, guys.